Okay, so
Yes.
a form can be defined as a template or a blank space that can be used to fill in details or document.
Okay. Any other?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Any
So
other?
yes, for me, a form is a template that is used to collect people's details.
Okay. So basically, that is what a form is. It's something that you fill in your data, and that data will be stored somewhere. So at the end of this presentation, you should be able to define what HTML form is. You describe the purpose of HTML form or designing HTML form, and then you specify the different tags for designing forms. You have add some special attributes to your form to make it user interactive and other stuffs. So this is the outline of the presentation. That is, we'll do some quick introduction to the form design, and we have form tags and their uses. We have tags, attributes, and then their uses. You design form for different purposes and purpose for designing the form on a website. So as you mentioned earlier on, HTML form allow a user to enter data, and that data is sent to the server for processing or stored in the database for future queries or for further queries. Now, forms can resemble a paper or a data form because web users fill out the form using checkbox, radio buttons, or text areas. So sometimes you can design your form with Word and other stuff, and people will feel that that is the manual way without using any computer device or something like that. And with that one, when we are dealing with a paper, we don't have something like uh, um, okay, we have that. Well, the only thing we don't have is what we call the drop down button and other stuff. So we have checkbox, and that is you are given some options and then you choose some particular options. And then we have radio button, that is you are given a lot of options, just some few options, and you are supposed to choose only one out of the whole. But with checkboxes, sometimes you can choose more than one thing. That is, let's say when we are talking about schools, you have tech, UCC, UG, and other stuff. You can choose all the three schools. You can choose two schools, or you can choose one. But it depends on the way the check box was defined. So a form, just as you've been dealing with tags and other stuffs earlier on, it means we being here means that we have done a lot on HTML and other stuff. And a form begins with a form tag. So whatever you are going to do, the form that you are going to design should be in the word form tag. That is the opening and then the closing tag. So this is the open tag for a form, and then you should have the closing tab. But whatever you are going to do should be in between the opening and then the closed tag. That is for the form. And a form usually contains a submit button. So by default, whether you like it or not, your form should have a submit button. Because at the end of the day, if you are done filling your data, you have to submit it. But if there's no a button like submit or a functionality like this, it means there's no way you can submit your data to the server. Now, so what are some of the purposes of forms design? So we design forms to collect information from visitors, okay, for registration into, that is taking their information like the full name, the program, the age, and other stuff. So The information is then sent to the server. Okay, so whatever you have entered, you click on the submit button, and that will be sent to the server. So it is the primary method for gathering data from site visitors. So there are some site and other stuff. Before you log in, you have to fill the form with your details. You enter your name and other stuffs, and this will be stored for the first time. And forms are used to create what we call primitives. That is GIU on the web pages, graphical user interfaces. So basically, when they ask you for the purpose of forms, I think there was a question like this for some of the group. I don't know. I think that was last semester for the regular students. Now we have something we call syntax, and I believe you know what a syntax is. You did a lot of programming tools, programming languages, and even if that is not the case, you have done something or a course that is introduction to programming or programming techniques. This will tell you what a syntax is. Just like in any other language, like English language, we have what we call grammar. We have what we call grammar, and then we have what we call concord. That is subject-verb agreement. Subject-verb agreement. So let me just add some small things on the syntax. We have, just like we have grammatical error in English, we have syntax errors, but the errors comes in so many forms. And let me say, basically, there are three forms of syntax errors. That is, errors. That is syntax error. We have logical error, and then we have semantic error. Now, with the syntax error, that is the rule that you are supposed to follow. So the syntax is the set of instructions or the rule that you have to follow in order to write a particular programming language. So you have to follow the rule. Unlike we human beings, when we come to the world of programming, we say the CPU is not the brain of the computer. Because when you do a mistake, let's say in C++, when you are declaring a variable, you have to specify the data type of the variable, followed by the name of the variable, and then the assignment operator, and whatever you are going to store into that variable. That is the literal, and terminate that with a semicolon. But if at the end of the day, you are done with your line of code without terminating it, you are going to get an error because you are supposed to add a semicolon at the end of your line of code. Okay, so if you didn't do something like that, it means you have deviated from the rule of what? Syntax. And that is what we call syntax error. But logical error is the one that maybe with logical error, your code will actually work, but the problem is you might not get the expected output. You might not get the expected output. And that is, let's say I have two numbers that I'm going to add, which means I have to have num1 plus num2. So if at the end of the day, instead of plus sign, I use multiplication, that is going to give me a different answer, even though the code will work, but that wouldn't be the output that I am expecting. So I am using may not be the expected result because sometimes when you have something like 2 times 2, that will give you 4, and then 2 plus 2 equally give you 4. So if you are adding numbers like this, it means you are still going to get the output that you are looking for. But other than that, there is nothing, or there is nothing like you getting a wrong output that is correct. Okay, so this is the syntax for a form. That is, you have the opening tags with a form inside, and then whatever you are going to write, that is your form elements, and then you have that closed. So now, if I have this opening tag, and at the end of the day, I am closing my form tag, but I omit something like this /. It means my code will not work if that is very sensitive. So it means when you're closing your tag, you have to say whatever you are typing with the / after the less than symbol. So this is basically how to start your form and other stuff. You begin with the opening tag for form, and then you close that. Whatever you are going to do should be in between the opening and then the closing tag. And we have another way, that is we have the form and then the form parameters and the form elements, and then you close that. So these are some of the form elements. We have the buttons, we have the checkboxes, we have the text area, we have the radio button, we have the drop down menu, and other stuff. So we are going to look at each other one after the other, just as I said. So we continue with forms. That is the only attribute of forms is the action attribute. And so if you are taking data from a person, it means whatever the person is going to enter is supposed to be stored somewhere. So you have to give it an action or wherever the data should be stored. Okay, so that is why you have to specify the URL. That should be the link to wherever your data is going to be stored. And this action is always required, because if there is nothing like that, you don't have a place to store your data. So which specify the URL of the application that is to be called when the submit button is clicked. So when you click on the submit button, the action that you specify, that is with the URL, will be the action or something that will be called, or wherever your data will be stored whenever you click on the submit button. So example is something like form and then the action survey.php, and that in your form. So that is the action. And if the form has no action, the value of the action is the empty string. So if there is no there is no a place for you to save your data or whatever you are taking from the person, it will be an empty string. Please, any question up? Okay, let me finish this one before. Now we have another one we call the method attribute of a form. The method attribute of a form that specify one of the two possible techniques of transferring the data to the server. So we have the get. You can either submit your data with the get or the post. But post is much recommended, because with the get, when you use get and you submit your data, even if you don't have where the data will be stored, you see that at the bar, of your browser, the top, that is wherever you can do the search and other stuff, like what I'm showing here, like file, and then the / and other stuff. You see that whatever you have stored will be shown on that particular bar. So if someone is taking that, the person can easily know that this is what the person entered and other stuff. I'll show this with some lines of code. So you can do this with the help of a get and then a post. So the default one is get. That is, if you didn't specify the method, the default one is get. But always go with what post. Let me So any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? That is, I've spoken of the purpose of forms design, and we have syntax for the form design, and we have the actions, we have the method, and that. Please, any question up to this point? Hello?
Hi.
Yes, any question?
No.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please, looking up to the example, form action
Okay.
equals the quotation mark, survey PNP method. So please, this one, which one is going to display on the web browser?
When you use, that is the one that is going to be displayed on the web browser. Is it the one I said that it will be shown on the web browser? Say this is, let's say this is the URL. So this is where the data is going to be what stored, the survey.php. Okay.
Okay.
So that will be where the data will be stored, and that is the action. And then here, the method, that is the post, is what is responsible for what getting the data from you, the user. Okay, and then store that into the survey.php. But if you didn't specify something like this, if this is out, by default, it is the get that will be there. So the method there will be what? The get method, not the post. But it's always good to go with the post method, because when you use the get, the whatever data that you have entered will be displayed in the what title of the what web browser. Are we good?
It will display the title rather.
Yes, it will be displayed in the title of the web browser. That is one of the disadvantage of the get method. But not this in the database itself, not whatever you have saved. Whatever you have saved, that is when everything is functioning very well, you are done with your PHP and other stuff, your database. When you click on the submit button, it will be saved in the URL. That is the link or wherever your database is. So in this case, our data or whatever you are going to enter will be saved in the survey.php. Are we good?
Okay.
Yes. So the post is just a method, a technique for transferring the form of data to the server. Yes, so this is just what I explained. So how to design forms in HTML5 syntax. Now we have the form and then the name, my form. You can give it a name, and then the method is post, and then the action is sum/script.php. So this will be the name, and then this will be the method by which your data will be transferred to your server or your database, and that will be inside the sum script.php. Do you understand that? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes. So you know where the data will be stored, right? So when you see, wherever you see action, so action is the one that holds the URL of wherever your data will be stored. So let's say this is what is this will be wherever your data will be stored. So if I save my details, where I can access it will be in the sum script.php. But the method that will transfer my data to the server is what we call the post method. The post. So this is a method that is used to transfer your data to wherever it is going to be stored. So the method actually tells how the form data should be sent. Okay, so either the get or then the post. And then the action tells us where the data should be sent, where the data will be what sent. So here, this will be the container. The action here will be the container that is going to store the data or whatever you are going to type in. Are we good? I'm coming. I am just trying to show an example of that so that you understand what I mean. Let me see if I can share that with you. Does it mean this will not work? I wanted to show this, but I don't know why. I'm coming. Please, can you say this? Hello?
Yes, please, we can see.
Please, what can you see? Hello?
Yes, please.
Please read that to me and let me see.
We have full name, email,
Okay.
age.
Okay. So that's good. So let me fill my details. Okay, then you see something. Yeah, so that is with the post method. You see that there is nothing that is being shown here. You only see column / submit. That is what you can only see because I have not specified any place with my distance to save the data. Okay. Now let me try that with a get. Let me see if I can. Okay, I hope you can see my screen with the VS Code.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you see that? Yes, so please, this is the action, okay? So I am going to change it to get, okay? I am going to change it to get. I'm going to change that to get and run the code again. Okay, so let me save my details again. Let me key in my details again. And let me select. Yes, please, can you see here? Can you see what has been highlighted blue?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
So yes, so let me do this. I'm just going to copy it and paste it in a Word file, and you can see everything. So this was just whatever was on the title this thing, and you could see that everything that I've entered is displayed here. Okay, I entered my full name and then my email. You can see my email is here. Okay. And then I've entered my age 18. You can see the age here. And then here, the gender, everything, all the information that I've entered is displayed in. So if somebody sees this, the person can easily get your credentials. So for security reasons, you don't have to use the get method. Okay. Please do understand that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is the difference between the post and then the get method. Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, I thought
Hello.
someone is having a question. Please, any question? Now, you know the difference between the get and then the post. So we have some syntax for attributes in what fonts, that is in HTML. That is HTML5 allow 4 different syntax for attribute. Now you can have something like type of examples. Okay, so empty, that is, you have something like input type, and the text here is in double quotes, and then the value, you see that the input type is not in any distance, and then the value is also in what, double quote. So that is the empty one, and then we have disable, and then we have another one. That one is unquoted, so that one there is no any distance. You have the input type, and this will specify the input type that you are going to work with, and then you see that the value is equal to John, and there is no any quotation mark around that. Can you see that? So this is unquoted, and when you look at the third one, you have the value to, and then that is equal to John Doe. So that one is inside double quotation. Well, so when you give it this kind of code, it will work. And when you use single code as well, that one will equally work for you. Okay. So these are the different ways you can do this and disable that, or you can have your value and none of it should be in a double quotation, that is unquoted, and then you can put it inside double quotation, that is the value. Okay, by default, the input type is supposed to be in what, double quotation, and that is what we are having here. Here we are having text as our input type, which means you are going to type something in that. So your name should be using the input type and other stuffs. Please do understand. So all these 4 syntaxes works. It will not give you any syntax error and other stuffs. Unlike some programming language, it will tell you that the value, just put it in a single quotation, and when you by mistake you use a double quotation, it will give you a grammatical error. When you give it or the name without double quotation, it will give you grammatical error, it will give you syntax error. But with HTML, just to make it user friendly and other stuff, all this aspect of it is accepted either in a quotation or either in single quotation, either in double quotation, either without quotation. All of this will work for you. You will not get any grammatical error. So in HTML5, all the 4 syntax may be used, and you will not get any grammatical error or syntax error for that. Are we good? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is what is actually making HTML very good and then user friendly, because someone might do or make a mistake and omit the double quotation. If it was just specifically on the double quotation, it means you are going to get a syntax error. But with HTML, all of these things, your code will work either without double quotations, without single quotation, your code will work, and then with double quotation, your code will work on, and when you make it single quotation, your code will work. So basically, these are some of the four syntax may be used in HTML. That is when you are dealing with what forms, and that is when you are using HTML5. Okay. Now let's look at labels. Let's
Yeah,
look at
sir.
labels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, please. Can you scroll back?
Okay.
I mean, I'm asking. So with the John, the disabled over there. What does that mean?
So with the John, the disabled is that is the action that is supposed to take place. That is, it's just a form of let me say, it's a form of literal that you were supposed to specify something like required or not required. So here, none of these actions will be considered. Okay. Please do we get that? We'll get into the code and I'll show you the differences between all these things. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, we've gotten it.
Okay. Now we have what we call labels. And you say that when you are using any form, they ask you, you have some text to tell you that enter your first name, your middle name, your surname, and other stuff. So these are what we call the labels. And this will tell you that you are expected to enter this, you are expected to enter that. If it is your age, your email, and other stuff, you should see this and know that in this particular input type or field or text area, you are supposed to enter your name or your first name, your middle name, and other stuffs. So this is the syntax for that. We have label, and then for IN. So for label, for whatever input type that we are going to, that is for first name for IN, and then that is first name, and you close that. So right now, when you run your code, this is what you should be seeing. Okay, so you will see something like first name, which means you are supposed to enter your first name here. And then the input type will give you provide the text area. So here you are seeing text, which means you are supposed to type something or enter something. So it will provide a space for you to type in something. So you should be having your first name. You should be having first name, and then some text area like this for you to enter your name, blah, blah, blah. So this first name here is what you are seeing here. That is your first name. And then the area here, or this text area or text box here that is waiting for you to enter something is there because we have our input type to be what? Text. That is what? Text. Okay. And then the ID, you just give it as what? First name. And that is it. So here, everything is defined in the what? Input tag. So you go with input, and then you specify the type of what input that you are going to work with. And then you can give it an ID, and that is, you can just use the initials.
Please say,
Okay.
what were the four attributes in the label do?
for this this program.
Yeah, so therefore this one for. So this is specifying whatever. So for first names, so this is specifying whatever you are going to what you are going to enter here. So for that is when you are dealing with the first name, that is with the initial. This one you can label it as anything. And at the end of the day, you should have the ID for this one. So this is the ID, that is the unique identifier. So this is what is using identifying the first name here, and that is unique. So when you are referring to for, it means you are talking about the first name, and that is why you have the ID to be what FN. So that is the unique identifier, or something that will identify it uniquely and tell the person that you are dealing with your what first name.
So please, can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can.
So should we take it like the FN is something like you are declaring something like variable declaration?
Good.
Okay.
Good. So that is wherever you see this one. You see that at the end of the day, you have the ID to be what the FN. Okay, and that is what is making it unique. So wherever you see F.
So please, we can't hear you. Your line is kind of off. We can't hear you.
I cannot see his screen. So
I'm not seeing the screen.
The screen is displaying, but I don't think. Okay, he's off now. He's off, but I think he'll come back.
Today the
I'm hoping they will give us the exam will be practical for this course, or
practical
why do you think so?
on a paper or with a PC.
oh, I am just assuming, because looking at everything we are doing, coding or developing a website using HTML and doing it on paper, I don't think they will achieve the objective for which this program or this particular course was brought in. I am thinking probably it's going to be a practical session.
I say
Or-
even if it is a practical question, if it is a practical question, you are going to run course on paper. That is
That is
as
what
it
I'm asking, because you have practical questions that are on paper. That is what I remember. If it is practical, maybe using the PC
you build an app on paper.
Then
And how will it run?
it's the same paper.
You say how will you go to run?
If
I think
you are
you
using
just end it with the end result.
if you are using if it is practical, you have to use your computer to write. You know, sometimes if you are writing, it gives you suggestions to do the writing as you do. But if it is a paper,
if you use
if you are wrong,
intelligence, if you use intelligent test editors, that one it makes the work a bit simpler. So that at least
yeah,
you can,
especially
if you are making
Sublime test is very, very intelligent.
and even VS Code too is very, very, very good.
If you are using those ones, if it is practical and they gave us those ones, it's just a matter of you knowing the particular task you are using. If you start it, whatever you want inside, immediately you start to type, it gives you the list of suggested ones and you just select.
So if
And
if
when it
if,
said
if the
display,
question is about the practical, some of us who are not understanding anything, what are we doing?
He said, you don't understand.
Charlie, the thing I don't get anything.
Which
you
part?
just mentioned that
Is
you
it the
write
form?
and add the characters when you are able to.
I'm just following.
You run it and it runs.
Is it
Bro,
from the beginning or only portion?
Yeah, this is George, but George.
Oh, and I'm asking the one
hello,
you are saying
bro.
you didn't understand. Is it from the beginning or from for only this session?
You see, even the assignment we did last, when our guy Prince took us through, and one Adams tried to explain the start we were doing on the machine before. That one, if I
I
take
think this
machine today, I
discussion is
can
being
do
recorded.
something like that.
They are recording your discussion.
Okay, then let's
But this particular thing, if you want like a lecturer to come and teach you and you understand, it will be very difficult. You need to sit yourself down. That one day is the gospel facts. Watch YouTube videos and other things before you get or you'll be able to do exactly what the lecturer is doing, or you'll be able to understand it. Else, if you are watching how he's doing it, if you don't have the understanding, you won't understand it. That is the gospel fact.
So what time exactly are we going to end the class?
please. Is anybody having the lecturer's contact so that we contact him to see the problem why he's not been able to continue?
Ish, I don't know, but I'm not sure he's on our platform.
No, he's not on the platform, and his name too. His contact is not also in the list of the lecturers given to us.
Then how did Mr. Henry got him this evening?
I didn't get him before I realized the class is going. That's why I also joined.
Hey, wow. Then maybe he might not know that he's offline.
Well, the first in the afternoon when he was doing it, he said something like he's going to meet us again, but I didn't know it was going to be this evening. So I just looked through my chat and I realized that the class is happening.
I thought you contacted him and told him he was done.
No, before I could contact, I could take his contact in the afternoon. He left.
You chat Madam Doc and tell him that the lecture is offline. Maybe he doesn't know. We don't have his number.
Okay.
So, Henry, please the web technology, you know, are they doing everything online or there's one app they are using?
Hello, please. I just contacted the coordinator. Let me say coordinator or the monitor, and he says we should hold on. He's getting in touch with Doc, and then will let us know what to do. Thank you.
Good evening. Hello. This is my voice visible.
Yes, please.
Okay. Please, I learned you have encountered some errors with the class, so I tried contacting the lecturer, but it seems she's kind of a little bit busy. But please, when did the class actually started? I think it was around 12 p.m., right?
Yes, we started around 12, but for some reasons we had
Okay.
to reschedule
Oh, okay.
to this
Okay.
evening and then Wednesday evening.
So you continue this same class on Wednesday
Yes,
evening?
yes, please.
Okay, then we have to call it off this evening.
No,
And then
senior, it's like we did, it's 4 hours lecture. We did
okay.
2 hours, and
Mm-hmm.
then we rescheduled the 2 hours, the rest of the 2 hours to from this evening 6 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, but we again scheduled that Wednesday. We are going to meet again on Wednesday
With the
with the
lecturer.
same lecture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a male or a female?
A male.
Actually, it's a female who is taking us, but I
Okay.
think for today,
Yeah, she told me
for some reason,
she can't handle it today, so she gave it to
yes. So a
the
male was
other
taking
guy.
us.
Okay, so I'll contact them, but for this evening, I think I tried calling her, and then I don't want you to waste much time on and then your airtime on the net, so that it doesn't conflict any issues. So we will continue again on Wednesday then.
Okay.
But I'll get back to her, and then if there is any other information, I'll communicate to you anytime sooner.
Well noted.
All right.
Okay.
Please, does
Okay. Well,
anybody have any challenge?
thank you very much.
Please, do anyone have challenge so far?
Is it with a rescheduling?
No, any other challenge? Just let me know so that if I can work on it, I will work on it too.
Well, I think as it stands, no.
Okay. Sure. Thank you very much.
But please, are you the one I called some few minutes ago?
Yes, please.
Okay, then
Oh,
I'll chat you very soon. Back door.
Okay, that's fine. Please, anybody have any challenge?
yes, please. Which one?
Please, who is talking?
Please, it's me, Danny. I wanted maybe
Please raise your
send
hand.
us
Let me see you.
please come on.
Raise your hand. Let me see. Because it seems okay. Mr. Amponsa, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Please go on.
I wish you send a slides on the page for us, the 3A and the 3B, so that we can go through.
Okay, that's fine. I'll do that.
All right, thank you.
Is that the one that she did with you today?
Yes, please.
All right, then I'll push it to you then.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is any other issue?
Please, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Abubakar.
Yeah. What about we those with the communication design? Our results for the first semester, most of them are still not in. We don't know what is happening.
Please, which one? Kindly be a little bit specific here.
Yeah, we have industrial printing. One.
Yes. So
Industrial printing
what
one
is happening is that one hasn't been marked yet. I think that one it's the quiz question that haven't been marked, and then
and
it's not a fault that we can. They will just trace it and then work it out. I think they have a little bit challenge up there, so they will work on it.
Okay.
I
So we have
I
about
personally
four
want
courses.
to. Please come again.
I said we have about 4 courses that we are yet to receive.
Which one and which one?
Mathematics for computing,
One.
scalar psychology,
Okay.
and then the industrial printing 1 and 2. Some people have the 2, but not all of us.
Oh, okay. So,
Hello.
hello. Please, I can hear you. Kindly
Yes,
hold
please
on.
come back. Okay.
All right. So I'll work on it. I think the lecturer, the guy is in, so the lecturer is in, so kindly pay attention. I'll work on the issues, and then if there is any other information, I'll communicate it to you as soon as
Thank
possible.
you. Thank you.
All right.
Hello.
Mr. Tamanja, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So,
All right.
let me give my number out. I just noticed I was speaking to myself for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
Not knowing. Yes.
okay.
Yes. So my number is 054.
Mr. Henry, please take the number and then later push it to me.
Okay, sir.
054.
Zero. Okay.
054.
Yes, sir.
054 156
Okay.
4363.
05415643363.
Yes. So if I am off, please prompt me with a call and
Okay, sir.
I just noticed I spoke to myself for more than 10 minutes. Yes. So
Okay,
where
sir.
did we get to?
We were on
Labels.
what do you call it? Yeah, label.
Labels.
We started. You just started
Yes.
with
Did we do something? Let me see.
the,
But we did
no,
something
the
like
moment
this, right? We did this.
no.
Can you see my
We are
screen?
done
We
with
just
the form.
started.
We are
No,
done with
we
the
didn't do
form.
this.
So we are moving to labels.
Was it widget or labels?
Label. You just started with the labels and then
Definition for
Labels, sir.
labels started.
Let me see the slide. Is it here? Did we talk about text area?
No, go up.
No,
You go
no.
up. Go up. Go up.
no. Yeah.
But we did this. We did this. So
Yeah,
here,
this
right?
is where we got. No. The top. Yes.
Yeah.
This slide.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
This is where
kindly start with labels for us. You because the network was on and off. So label. Please
Wow.
let's start with that.
Do you know where I get to before I got to know that you are not on the line? I was here. Oh. Okay. So we start with labels again, okay? Now, all the forms that you've been using, I believe you have seen something like you have my first name, you have the surname, other name, and other stuff before the text area. I believe you've been saying that. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I believe you've been. Please let me know. Yes, I believe you've been saying that. Yes. So the label. Yes.
Yeah.
So the label is what you are saying. Okay. The label is what you are saying, and that is which means when you run this code right now, you should see something like first name before the text area that you have to type in something. Okay. So you see first name. You see something like the first name, and wherever you are or whatever you are. Let me share this with you and you see that. Yes, so you can see this one, right? So the label here is the name you are seeing. That is the full name. So this is telling you to enter your full name, and this is something that is like communicating. When you see this, you know that you are entering your full name. Okay, so the email you are seeing here, the age before the text area. So this is the text area, okay, or the text box. That is where you are supposed to enter something. Okay, where you are supposed to enter something. So the label, that is here full name, and with the one that we are using, that is first name, and I have the code. Let me modify that. Okay, so with this one, you said I have div, and I believe you know what this is, the div. That is, we have the open and then the close tag. That is just grouping this as one, and that is what we call div, and that is what it actually does. So you see that I have label, which is for name, that is name. I have full name, so I can let me change it to first name so that it will match what we have. Okay, so this is the first name, and when I save that and refresh, when I refresh that, I should have first name here. Please, can you see my screen? Oh,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
please.
can you see that? Yes. And we have another one, that is email. You go with the same thing, that is label, and we have the email, that is for email, and then you have email. Let me make this small letter, and when I refresh that, that will give me email with small e, and or everything small. And because you specify the input type here to be an email, when you type, you should be seeing some small dot and or asterisk. So let's try that on the code, and you see that. So this is an email. Let me refresh it. I'm coming. I didn't save the code. I have Control+S to save that and refresh it. I will have my email with small e. Okay, you can see that. So whatever you are typing, by default, it will not be visible. So when you specify the actual email, sorry, that was password. Email will be visible, but when you are dealing with password, whatever you are typing will not be visible. So you have your email, and that is that. And here we'll talk about all these things. And then you have age, and age goes with number. So it's just the same thing, not anything that is, you can just write 2 lines of code and you have to only edit it. You change the name, the label name, and that is here. I have age. I can change that, and you can change the input type and other stuffs. Okay. So we go back to yes. So we have the label, and that is how it will be appearing. And click on a label for purpose its associated field. So we have a lot of them. We have the checkbox that toggles, and we have radio button. You just select one out of a whole, and this label makes it usability and accessibility feature that help you to know that you are entering first your first name, your surname, or your middle name. So we
Yes, sir.
have yes.
At times, the label first name inside
Okay.
the box that you type your first name,
Okay.
you also see first name in the box, but it is dimmed.
You also see what? Yes,
At
so you
times,
can you can add what we call a placeholder. Okay, So wherever you are supposed to type it, right? Right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, so you can have, but that one doesn't affect that. That is just a placeholder that is giving you an instant of whatever you are supposed to add, okay? So maybe with my own, let me share that. With my own, you can have like inside the text area or the text box, you see a name inside that is name. They are just telling you an example. Okay, so that is something like a placeholder that will be designed by default, but when you start typing, it will disappear. I believe that is what we are talking about.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, so we will talk about all here. So we have a single line input text field, and then we have the input type to be the text area, and then the name, first name, and the value. This is a text area. And then
Sir,
some, yes,
also, your code, when you go to the site,
okay,
that is the output. So can you please display, show
okay,
that, let me address it. The browser that contains the form you are
I'm
filling.
coming. Okay, I'm coming. I have to share my entire screen. You mean this one?
Yes,
Hello?
yes,
Yes, okay.
yes. So the first name, we we are seeing a rectangular box around the first name, not where you type. A
Okay.
big, but a
Okay,
long
we'll talk
rectangle.
about that. We'll talk about that. Okay. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. I can even remove it now. Let me remove that, and you see I have something here called the field set. Okay. So let me remove that. It's just something that you use to just give it some kind of groupings and other stuff. So I'm going to I'm going to refresh it, and you will see that it will disappear. Can you see that?
Okay, all right.
Yes, you can see it
So
again. So that is what
that's
we
the
call
fun,
a field set.
that's the function of the field set.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. And then we have what we call text. We have what we call text area. And that one, that is when you are taking multiple lines and other stuff, but you have to specify the number of columns and the number of rows, just to make sure that the person will not write something rubbish. So you have the text, that is multiple line text input field, and then you have text area name equal to comment. So you are giving just a comment on that, and we have rows to be equal to 3 rows, and then the columns to be equal to 40, and this is multiple text field. So usually you have to include the rows and then the columns attribute for the size of the text area. And we have another one, password that just as you have seen. Okay, we'll do that one too. A text field which masks the enter text to with an asterisk. So is that wherever you are entering a password, hello,
We
hello.
are following.
Yes, so wherever you are entering your password and other stuff, when you type immediately, you type that, the password will turn to something else, either like asterisk or dot dot dot, so that it will just hide the characters that you are typing, and when somebody is seated closer to you, they will not be able to see what you are typing. And that is the problem I have with MTN. I think they should do something like this. When you are typing your password, it shouldn't be appearing like the way it is now. It's like empty, and when you are entering your password, just like that, or your PIN code, just like that. So if someone is closer to you, the person can easily see your password and other stuff. But once this has been converted to some asterisk and other stuff, the person will not get the password well. And want the password. So we have limit. We have the limit. That is with UCC e-learning portal like this. I don't know whether you are familiar with it. Your password has to be 10 characters long. That is a string of what? 10 characters at least, which means it has to be either 10 characters or more than 10 characters length. And when you enter something less than 10 characters, that will then be accepted as a password. And the password should be made up, should be a merge of uppercase, lowercase, and then we have numbers and special characters. So here you can specify the length of it, and it should be here. We have input type equal to text area, and then the name is equal to phone, and then the size will be what, 12. So it should not be more than, what, 12. Okay, so this will be the size of it. But you can see max length, and then you can see min length. That is specifying the number of letters or characters that you are supposed to enter. This is the same thing we spoke about. So this is the input for the text. And then we have forms here, form actions. So this is just a simple form. And we have the form action, and you have to specify whether you are going with a get or you are going with post for your data transfer. That is whatever would take your data from the user and send it to the server. And then we have the label for the email, and then you have email address, and then the input types will be what, email, and you know what an email should be like. So all these things will be taken care behind the scene. And then we have another one label, that is date of birth, DOB, and that will give you a portion that you can enter 6 numbers separated by slash, forward slash, and other stuff, or whichever way it is going to be entered. And then we have label for add, that is website URL, that is a link. We have input, and then the types will be URL, and you have the ID to be what, addresses or address. So we have another one for the search, and that is your search bar, and you search our page. You have this is just the label, and then the input type is what, search, ID, search, and required auto focus. So this will just take some of the keywords from you, not something like please enter this and other stuff, like when you're searching for something on Google, please what is it now and other stuff. It doesn't work with those things. It's only consider the keywords and get you the actual result that you are expecting.
Please,
okay.
From the sentence above, yeah, I can see a paragraph close over there, but I didn't see a paragraph in front of the input type URL.
Okay.
Yeah, a paragraph has been closed over there.
A paragraph has been closed with this one.
Yes.
Right?
Type,
so
yes.
This one, right? So we have
yes.
a paragraph at the beginning of that. Can you see that?
Okay. Okay.
Can you see that? So everything will be in paragraphs. Once we have a closed paragraph, you still have an open one, and everything is in paragraphs and other stuff. Now we have text area that is created with tags, and then the text area usually include the rows and then the column attribute. You have to specify the size of it, and default text could be included as a content of the text area. You see it very soon. So this is, and when you're working with a text area, a particular portion of it will be provided to you. And once you feel that portion that is visible to you, once you feel that you see that a drop down, the scroll bar, you see one pointing upwards and another one downwards. that tells you that you can scroll up and down. By default, once you are done entering everything, let's say with this one, once you are done entering everything in the box that you can see, this scroll buttons will be here for you to be able to see whatever is below and whatever is above what you are currently seeing. So you have to specify, that is, the rows should be 3 and then the number of columns should be 40. And that is, with the first one, we have a paragraph, and that paragraph is containing, please provide your employment details. So this is a paragraph, that is the first one, that is telling you to provide your employment aspirations. And then the second one, inside a form, you have what we call the P, that is another paragraph. So that is why you are having all this thing here, another paragraph that include a text area, and you have to type your aspiration. But there is another one inside that is telling you that please be brief and what concise. You can see that, and that one is found in the what text area. And when you look at the line of code, it's inside the what text area. That one is inside the what the text area. Are we good? But from here to this is the form proper. So that is the form itself, but the first one is just a paragraph that is telling you to provide your employment aspirations. Now we have another one we call the button, that is buttons, and we have a couple of them. We have reset button, and when you click on that, whenever you are filling the form, when you click on that, it takes you to the default, meaning that it will clear everything that you have entered. To clear everything that you have entered, let me see if I can show that on my so let me type something, and I have the email. I have this. Let me choose this. Let me choose that. So let me show example of this one too. Let me just enter something. Oh, come on. Let me just enter something to make sure that this whole place is packed of full, and you will see that by default a scroll button. Can you see that we now have some what scroll down and then scroll up button that will help you to read what is below and what is above that. So that was the scroll button that we were talking about. Now, if I click on submit, that will be submitted via my post or my get. But if I clear that, it means it has to take me back to default, which means there's no anything that will be filled in the what text areas and then the boxes inside. You see that when I click on cleared, everything has been what cleared, it has been what reset. So declared is the same as reset. Resetting it. So that one will discard everything that you have typed or all the details that you have filled. And that is basically, that is one of the buttons, and you need to have them. But the default one should be the submit button, because at the end of the day, you have to submit your you have to submit your details or your data or whatever you have filled. So that one is just a default one. And then the reset button, that one, it is much required, but not not compulsory like the submit button. So that one you have to specify the input type, and then you go with what submit, and then the name equal to what reset button, and then we have another one reset, the name equal to reset. So the name doesn't really do anything. It depends on whatever you want to use. And instead of when you click on reset or when you submit your this thing, by default, whatever you have saved, everything will be discarded and it will go back to the default font, a form that nothing has been added to. And then we have the image button that acts
Hello, sir.
like, okay.
So please, I have a little problem here. I am trying the reset, but when I click on the reset button, the things I've entered doesn't clear from the spaces I've provided for the input.
So you have to check your code and make sure that your functionalities are working. Okay, even right now with my own, when I click on submit, there's no way it will be submitted somewhere. This is just a raw form, just a raw one, because if you are doing the actual form itself, you have to add CSS to make it more attractive and other stuff. It shouldn't be like what I've shown to you. Wow, just for the practical sake, that all this thing. You have to add CSS, give it some colors and other stuff, make it more attractive, and have to make sure the post and then the get everything is working for you, so that when you submit, there should be a place that your data will be stored.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. So image button act like submit, but image is displayed and click coordinate, and click coordinates are sent. So the image is the same thing. You have to go with the input, that is the image, but sometimes you have to give the size of it, the coordinate and other stuff. Okay, the coordinate and other stuff. So we have the image, this thing is image, and then we have the source, the src is the source, and then you give the directory of the image, and then the name submit button, and we have alternating. Sometimes you can even give it something like an alternative way. If this image is not loading, what will happen? And that is what we call the submit here, the alternative way. Is that sometimes if you are trying to access something on the internet or whatever browser you are using, and your network is not helping you, or you are not getting it early as you needed, they'll tell you you can play a game or something like that. I don't know whether you have ever seen that.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe it's just trying to keep you active and other stuff. So your network is not working, but they'll give you something to be doing. Okay, you can play a game whilst we're waiting for your network to be using and other stuff. So ordinary button, no default action, use with what JS. So this one, you have to have your JavaScript to work with the database before that will actually save your data. But for now, when you click on that, it will just take you to something else. Okay, they will tell you that there is no any place that your data will be stored. That will be that. So you have to make sure your JavaScript with your database is working, and that will be the work of the JavaScript to make sure that your data is stored. And then we have action button. Both are created with input. So we have the reset, and then we have the submit button. So the submit button have two actions: encode the data of the form. So, and then we have request that the server execute the rest done program specified as the value of the actions and other stuff. So this is what we have spoke earlier on. That one, you have to do that with the help of JavaScript and specify the action that you want it to, the action that you want it to transfer your data. That is your data that you have entered to the appropriate place that you want to store your data. So a submit button is required in every form. So all the forms, as long as you are trying to take data from somebody, it means you have to store the data or you have to save the data. So by all means, you need to have a submit button to make sure that once the person is done entering he or her data, you will be able to submit the data. Okay, but if there is no submit button, how do you save your data. So that is that. And then we have check boxes and radio button. Check boxes and radio button. So checkbox is used to select multiple lists of information. So with a checkbox, you see that you could select a lot of things from that. And maybe you have, like I just mentioned, something like when you are given an option to select schools, maybe you can select like UCC, UG, and Tech and other stuff. But with the radio button, that one, let's say like male and female, you just choose either you are a male or female and other stuff. So you have the chance to choose only one. And once you choose the other one, when you click on one and click on the other one, by default, the first one that you click or you take, that one will be unticked. And then the current one will be the one to be ticked. But with checkbox, you can just click on a lot of them and you are still good to go. So that one, you go with the input type to be what checkbox, and then you mention the name of fruit and other stuff so that the person can select that. So radio buttons can be grouped, allow only one to be what is selected from it. So it's only one thing that you can select, like we have for grocery here. You have the checklist, and you have like milk, you have bread, and then we have egg. But you just have to select only one option from that. Right now, if I select on this, the first one will be what unticked. The first one will be unticked. And even with this or the name, this is something like a square. You can change that to an oval shape and other stuff. So to collect multiple checked input forms, so we have to go with the checked equal to checked. So here, okay, let me just go. So we have our label, and then we have the input type to be what checkbox, and then the names to be what groceries. That is one, and then the value is what milk. Check equal to check. So by default, when you see something like check equal to check or select equal to selected, or selected is equal to selected, that should be the default one. So if the person didn't take anything, let's say when you go and then you submit your form without taking any, the default one will be the word milk, and then the other options will be the bread, and then the other options will be bread and egg. Okay, so we have label input type equal to checkbox, and that is the first one. So name is equal to grocery. That is the first one. So right now, when you save it, what will be saved here is the grocery one, not actually the milk, but what you see, and this is what is going to reference the milk one that you are talking about. Okay, so you can decide not to even use the milk. Yeah, you can even decide not to use the name part of it. And then we have the value equal to milk. So if you say check equal to check, and that is going to make it the default one. So if you didn't select anything, you go with that one, and that would be the default thing that you are selecting. And you go with the same line of code, label input equal to checkbox equal to the name equal to this, and then the values will be equal to bread. And you have bread in between that. And you have another one, the name equal to grocery, that is the third one. And you have the value is egg, and you have egg as what is going to be displayed for you to see. So this is what should be displayed for you to see, the egg here, and then the bread here, and then the milk here. But whatever you are seeing, that one is backend. Now we have radio buttons, collection of what checkboxes, in which only one. So it's just the same thing, just that with with radio button, you can only select one of it. And when you select another one, the first one that you selected will be unselected. So collection of checkbox in which only one button can be checked at a time. every button in the radio button groups must have the same name. So you go with the same name, and if no button in the radio button group is pressed, so the browser often presses the first one. So that will be the what default one. So now we have something like this. You are supposed to choose your what age range. You are supposed to choose your age range, and you have to go with this is a paragraph, and then this is the this is the form, and then you have to specify your action, whichever way you want to take that. So you have to specify the input type. That should be what radio. That should be radio, and then the names will be equal to age. So value here should be under age, and then we have checked equal to checked. So that is the default one. And then the label here should be equal to what age 0 to 9, age 0 to 9. And they said all the names or the names must be the same. So that is what we are having here. The name here is what age, and then the name here is age, the name here is age, and the name here is age. The only difference is the age range. So you have here is 0 to 9, 19, and that is what should be displayed. And then the second one, 20 to 35, 20 to 35, this is what will be displayed. And then you have 36 to 50, and the last one should be over 50. Okay, so that is basically what here is saying. Okay, so every button in the radio button must have the same name, and you will see that the name here is equal to age, and here is equal to age. So it's just one line of code. You have to just write this line of code, and the rest you copy and paste. Just that you are making this one the default one. So checked is equal to checked. When you look at the when you look through the code or the lines of code, there is no any other one that you have checked equal to checked. So you can decide to make this one the default one, and you have to remove this check equal to check to the second one, and that will now be the default one. Please, any question up to this point? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I thought you guys are going again.
No,
So
no,
we
no.
have sliders. We have sliders that we use to minimize or maximize whatever we are dealing with. So you can move the slider left or right to change the value of it. Okay, so that is the number, the size of it, whichever way you want it to appear. You can use this slider to make it bigger or smaller. Additional attribute this, and these are some of the other attributes, that is min, max, and step, and what values. So basically these are used in Opera, Chrome, and then Safari browsers. Safari browsers. I have never used this before because I always work with Microsoft Edge. So input type is equal to range, and then the min 0, the max 0. So that start from 0 to 10, and that should be the max size should be what 2, and then this should be what 0. And we have the spin box. There's a spin box allow you to increase or decrease the number in a box by clicking little up and then down. So this number here we have, that is 42. You can change the font size of it by just clicking on the top or the down arrow, and that will decrease or increase the size of the number in the text area or the text box. And this only work Opera and then Chrome support that. I have never used this. So you can specify that by default, and that is input type should be equal to number. So we are working with the number, and then the min should be equal to 0, and then the max will be 10, and then the step 2, and the value is 6. That is the size of it. And then we have hidden fields. So hidden fields contain invisible data. So you can either click to see, you can either click to make the text invisible or to hide the text that you are having, like this one. We can click to make to
Sir,
hide
please,
it,
we
that is to
cannot
make it
see.
invisible. Hello?
Sir, please, we cannot see that one. You are showing us spin box. It is still showing spin box there.
I believe you have lost him.
Yes, please. I'm contacting him.
Class rep, please, plead with the lecturer so that he will share the distance with us, the slides. As some of us, we are not seeing top crowd.
Tech,
It
I
seems
didn't hear what
they have sent the slides.
They have
please,
sent
not
it
you.
to
I've seen a message notification on that.
Tech AP. You are saying something.
Let me check. I've seen a notification.
Is it a slide?
Yes, that is
The 3A is already on the platform.
It's already on the
3A and
platform.
3B. They are all there. 3A and 3B. They are there.
Okay. Please, I've called him. He says he's coming back. So let's wait for him for some few seconds. He'll join us very soon.
Okay.
They can.
Go ahead. Hey, you nigga pet treasure. You nigga no pet treasure. Right.
Sir Prince, your mic is on. Oh.
Sorry. we got.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
The
sir.
next one coming. Hello. Yeah. So I believe we're here. Hello?
Yes, sir.
It's up to this place, the hidden fields.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we were about to come here. We're on spinner, yes. Spinner
Okay.
box. Also.
So
Yeah.
this is just something that you see in some browsers, you can decide to hide your text or something like that. You just click on something and the text will disappear, or you click on that and the text will be what shown. So you can do this kind of stuff, and that is the hidden field. That is what is responsible for that. But this will be in function that is when you invoke some functionalities by using JavaScript and then the server-side code. Okay, so that is the view state and then the session state of it. So this is what you actually have to use JavaScript to do. So you can only get this with the help of what JavaScript code and other stuff. So this is the one we did. This
So
is
please, I
the
have a
one we
question.
did. Okay.
How different is the password input from the hidden input?
Okay, so the difference is that with the password, is that when you are typing by default, those text or characters that you are typing will be converted into dot and other stuff. But with this one, you have the text, just that you want to hide the text from somebody seeing it. So you just click on it and then the text will disappear. You click and then the text appears again. So this is just something used to hide, where the password field is something that when you are typing, by default, it converts that to dot, so that if someone is seated closer to you, the person will not be able to get the password you are typing. Okay, so let me see if I can do something about the password, and you see how that one is different from that. So with this one, I think we don't have password here. So let me just do this. I copy and paste this and edit that. So instead of email, I have password. I have password, and then let me copy that. So for password in password, and then I'll change it to the email to password, and then the ID to be password. And let me save that. We refresh. So you see that with the password one, when you are typing, it just by default change to dot, dot, dot. But with that one, you have some text that when you click, this text will be what? This text will disappear or something like that. But with the password, when you are typing and even when you are done typing, whatever you are typing, your password will be converted to dot, dot, dot or something like that. And you can click on the icon, and this will show you whatever you were typing and other stuff if you want to see whatever you are typing. In fact, this is something like hiding. Okay, so you see that when you click on the this thing, when you click on it, that is, you cross it out, you see the text that you are having. In fact, this is the same way the hide actually works. Okay, so this is the same way the hide actually works. So it is part of the password field. That is when you are trying to see whatever you are typing to make sure that what you type is the correct password and other stuff. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
please, is it by automatic that when the moment you hide the password, the icon appear beside it,
It's
or
by default. I just did it and I didn't show anything like the eye. So some of these things are done internally. Once you mention the word password, some of this kind of functionality will be like by default, or some of this functionality will be triggered. So you wouldn't be the one to specify that. I just added it and it is working perfectly. That is
okay.
it. Yes.
Thank you.
So now we are having this one here. Where is it? Okay, so this should be the output of whatever we have done here. That is with the age range and other stuff. So this will be the output. We have 1 to 19, 0 to 19, 20 to 35, and other stuff. So this will be the output. Or when you look at it, this will be the same way it will appear. And you can only take. So the first one is take, and that is the default one. Right now, if I click on 36 to 50, the second one, that is the first one that was ticked, should be what unticked, and the one that I just click on will be the one to be what ticked. So you can select multiple of them and other stuff. So we have another one called the select. We have another one called the select tag, and there are so many kinds of menus that behave like checkbox, and those that behave like the radio button. So you can change that. By the select one, you can either make it to be one or multiple selections and other stuff. So menus that behave like checkbox are specified by including what the multiple attribute, which must be set to multiple, which means you can select more than one. And then the name attribute select is required. You have to add that one too. And then the size of it, that is the attribute select, can be included to specify the number of menus that you are supposed to display for the person to see before, if you want to scroll down and up and other stuff. And if the size is set to that is greater than one or multiple is specified, the menu will display a pop-up menu, and then when you click, those things will all drop down. You see that in the pop-up menu. So basically, this is how this select work. So you have, okay, so this is just the paragraph, and you set that to be equal to one. So this will be the one. It is only one that you have to see, and that will be the default one. Before you click, and the rest will pop up. So you have options that they are whatever you are going to like add to the select option. This will be under what options. So we have a lot of options. We have milk here, we have bread, and then we have egg, and then we have cheese and other stuff. So this is what is used to specify that with opening and then closing tags of the options. So you just specify select is equal to. So this one doesn't use labels and other stuff. So each item of the menu is specified with an option tag whose pure text content, no tag in the value of the item. So an option tag can include the selected one. And specify the item. Item is what specified that the item is pre-selected. So that is when you go with the first one, that one will be selected by default. And then that is that. So this gives a drop-down menu. So maybe you have the first one that when somebody take it, the first option, when you see that, even though there'll be a drop-down, but the first one is the only one that you'll be seeing. That is the one that you set to what default. So we have select name equal to gender. So options equal to value 1. Selected is equal to selected male. So this is an option. And then we have selected equal to selected. So that is you are setting male to be equal to male to be the default one. Okay, so this is the one that you can see. And then this is the one that will be selected by default, which means if you didn't do anything, male will be selected. And then with the rest, you see that there is nothing like select is equal to selected. And they are all part of the option. So option value is equal to value. And then we have value 2, and then that is female. So that is another option. And then we have others, which will be the third option. But the first one, that is the male, is the default. That is the default option that will be selected or displayed. And with this one, you can make it multiple. That is to give the person the chance to select multiple, to have multiple selections. That is by going with the keyword multiple equal to multiple. And then we have options is equal to value 1, and then select is equal to selected. So here the keyboard is what is selected by default. And then we have another one. We have another one, value, that is value 2, that is equal to mouse, and you close the selector. So when you select that one, you just hold Control and then on the keyboard and select the remaining one. So this is how it is. So milk, you said that the milk will be the one that to be shown, but when you click on the drop down, the rest of it will be what is shown. So if they had to choose either bread or something like that, that will be the one that you see before you click on the drop down. So after clicking on the menu, so when you click on the drop down, you have all the options that you have in the list. Okay, so but the default one will be the milk, and that is the first one. And after changing the size to 2, after changing the size to be 2, that is the 2, and that is the first one, and then the second one will be displayed. That is bread and then milk. And if we change the size to 3, or that one, with that one, we are going to be having milk, bread, and then eggs. And when you change it to 4, all the 4 options will be displayed, that you wouldn't have to use the drop down or the scroll button in order to see whatever is hidden. So this is what we call the field set, and that is used to group your work into set. That was what I displayed, and someone asked me why I'm having that kind of a borderline around the name. So it also have a tag like this. Let me show my screen and we work with it. So this is by default, this is how my destiny is. Before I'm going to add the field set, and you will see the effect of that. That is just to group them into tables and other stuff by using the field, the field tag. So you begin with this. Let me zoom that. Oh, it's not working. I wanted to zoom it, and you come to the end of the div and you have field. So here I delete that, I save it, and I'm going to refresh that in my browser, and we will see the line or a margin around the first name. Please, can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
Yes, please.
this is what is used to divide that into field and other stuff. I can even add that to another one. Let's say from here, let me add that, and you see that there'll be a borderline. There'll be a borderline to that. So our email will equally be in another field. that will demarcate it with a borderline, and I believe you can see that.
Sir,
And
please, I
we
have a
can,
question here.
okay,
So how different is the field set from the div?
from the what?
The div, div, the div
The
tag.
div. So the div is just going to like divide, like just group a particular thing that is functioning as like, let me count. So you see that I have something, a label that is talking about what the name, that is talking about the first name. So the div will just group this one into one code, lines of code. Okay. But if there is nothing like this, if I remove all the div, you see that all the lines of code, it will be on one line. It will just, it will not be organized. So you just use div to organize your work and other stuff. And the break here will just give it a line space. You just give one line space in between that. Let me try to remove. We see what happens. I'm going to remove both the break and then the div from here, and let me remove this one too as well. And I'm going to remove this too as well. So let's see what happens. I save that, then can you see that? Can you see that? I see that everything is just merged together. Okay.
Okay.
Can you see the difference here?
Yes,
Everything is
sir.
just merged together. But with the one that is having div and other stuff, you could see that there are some spaces and some default alignment and other stuff. So the div is used to group, just put them in group and other stuff. Separate this one from the other and other stuff.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So we can even have our field, a field that is just to get an entire field for the, let me see, let me refuse to close this and see maybe the effect will apply to all. And then we should have a borderline around that. Can you see that? I'm having a div, but I didn't close that tag, and it is going to affect the entire lines of code from wherever it is to the end of the line of code. So that is why you are having this border that is covering the email, password, age, and then gender, and a lot of stuff. Can you see that? Because I didn't, what the name? Because I didn't close it. Because I didn't close it from here. Okay, so if I close it from here just by putting /, I should be having some nice change from that. All right, so you see that it is only capturing whatever. So this one, you can even use it to make some, divide your form and other stuff, just to make it nice and attractive. So basically that is the work of the field set. Present something else. Going to present this. So basically, this is what the field set work. We have form control, and then we have date and time. The input type, you go with date time. If you want to capture real time and other stuff, you go with date. You go with time and other stuff. These are all functionalities or things that you can add to your form and other stuff, which is, yeah, maybe for the time and the date. Okay, for the time, that one there, it can be captured by the name, by the form itself, and that one you wouldn't have to enter that manually when you are filling the form. And then, so this is just the work of the, so this is an assignment for you guys. Then your email address will not be published, required field are marked as this and other stuff. So this is another assignment. You will have to write a code to do this. And for a survey, and this is another one, a registration form. And you have a couple of them, and assessment. You have to talk of what are the forms widget. We have to mention, for example, a form widget. You write the following acronyms in full. So what is the full meaning of XHTML? What is the full meaning of the acronym XHTML? That is XHTML.
Extension hypertext
That is
markup language.
extensible hypertext.
Good. And then this is the hyper, and then this is what? The last one is what? And then the last one is what?
Extension markup.
The last one is what?
That's
good. Extensible. So extensible.
extensible markup language.
Markup language. That's good. So you have to differentiate between post and get, and I believe we have done that. I've even done a practical of it, and you have seen. And then you discuss the type of list, ordered and non-ordered list. I believe you have done that and a lot of stuff. All right.
So looking at the assignment, so please.
Okay.
So please scroll up a little bit. The assignment there are, I think, 4 of them. And then look at the second one. No, not this one, the one up, please. No, the other one before this.
Okay, this.
No, the other one before this one. Very good, this one.
Should I scroll up or down? This one.
The survey form. The survey form.
Okay.
This one, unless we add CSS, and I don't think we have done CSS to all.
Yes, even or. No, you just have to design these things and other stuff, because in order to make it center align and all this kind of thing, you have to add CSS and other stuff. And this is something that will make you go and learn further. Okay, you learn ahead and other stuff. But this is just raw HTML and other stuff. That's that. Right. So we are meeting on Wednesday to complete what we were supposed to do. But honestly, you guys made us to waste much time today and on something that you have done, and even the response on something you have done already, it was something else. So I think next time you have to prompt the person instead of calling madam to tell her that I am on a different distance. If you had said so and I didn't mind you, that is the time you have to call and tell madam that I'm doing this. You are just supposed to prompt me, not to call and tell her. There is a reason why she is not able to have the class with you. And that's to tell you that you don't have to call her. Just prompt me and I will confirm that with her. But calling her to tell her it's a form of reporting or something like that, which is not that pleasing. All right, so basically we are done with forms and other stuffs. We are done with forms and other stuff, and we've used like 2 hours, 30 minutes, and I believe you are all tired as me. And at this point, I say bye-bye for the day. We meet on Wednesday, and that will be 6.
So please, before you leave,
okay.
There's a hand up. So Prince has his hand up. And I think I'm considering.
Hello, sir.
Google Meet. I am not on where you guys are. I am on the browser that I am sharing the slide with you. So sometimes when you're doing something, I can't see. You can just. All right, Prince.
Sir.
Yes.
Please, about the forms. You know, there are some forms you make them required so that the user cannot skip them.
Yes, yes. But I said I believe I mentioned that. I believe I mentioned that, and even in my code, I have something like that. Let me see. So what is said to required? It means you have to do that before. Can you see my line of code? My line of code. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. We
Yes,
have required and we have that. So let's try to skip one of it and you see what happens. Let me run that. So I am not going to enter the name. So this, you can select multiple of it just by clicking on, by holding on Control key, and you can select that. So here you type something that is a comment, and if I try to submit that, they'll tell me that fill this out, please fill out this field. It means it is required, and if I didn't do that, there's no way I can submit my form. Okay, so it will take you back to wherever you are until you enter something that your form will be submitted. So you see that you can see that this one, because there is no any JavaScript to trigger the functionality of the post, and then they get no URL for you to store your data and other stuff. You are having file error and other stuff. Okay. Please, any other? So always go with the post method. Go with the post method so you don't expose your credentials to people on the browser. Okay. Any other?
Sir.
Yes.
I don't know whether is the time, but with your presentation, you said maybe when we are done with the tutorials, you give us the practicality of what we have learned.
Yes, the time is far gone, and then, but I believe you have seen that everything with these lines of code. Once you know how to write one, if you're able to write this, if you're able to write something like this, the rest you just have to be changing the input type and then the label name. So you change the input type and then the label. You don't have to do anything further and other stuff. So maybe another time when we meet, I believe that one is only 24 slides. So we'll do the coding itself that I wouldn't have to show you a code that has been written already. We just start from scratch and do something.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. So I've given out my number, and for the meantime, please, if there is any problem or you have any challenge, please call me. Okay, Madam is.
Hello.
Madam is on. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please, I can hear you.
I would like to know the softwares I would like to know the software we could use in. Yes, I would like to know the software that we should download prior to the practical.
Okay. To do the yeah, so you have to download VS Code. Okay. So this is how it is. I believe you can see that, yes, this is VS Code, and we have to look at how the logo is. You can use VS Code, and I don't know whether you can use this markup language. Okay, so let me ask you: is HTML a programming language? Hello.
It's a markup language.
Yes.
Good. So HTML is not actually a programming language, but a markup language. Okay.
Okay.
So you can download your VS Code. In fact, you can even run this on terminals.
Okay.
Okay, you can run this on terminals. Inside your browsers and other stuff. But VS Code is always advisable.
Okay. Thank
Please,
you.
any other question?
Please say, why is it that HTML is not a programming language?
Yes, so it is a markup language. That is, how will I explain this? That why is it that HTML is? We have programming languages and then we have markup language. So this is just something we use to play around our interfaces. That is when you are dealing with UI, the front end part of it, and other stuff. Okay, so it's something we use to do design and other stuff. Like what's the name? This Photoshop and other stuff. Those who are free with Figma and other stuff. It's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that they normally use to do that. Okay, so we have programming languages and then we have markup languages. So basically, I can't really tell how HTML is, but I only know that it is a markup language. Please, any other? Hello, any other question?
So I don't think there is any for now.
So if there is no question, I just have to tell you that we'll have a class on Wednesday, and then that will be 6 p.m. and we are starting at 6 p.m. and we close 8 p.m.
Okay, sir.
Yes, so we will not have to wait for you guys to join another stuff. You know the time, and we have to just be part-time. But that one is just it's 24 or something like that, so it's not that much. So please try your best and join early. All right, so if there is no any question, I believe we are done for the day. And may God be with you all. See you another time. Please, if there is anything, you just get my number and you contact me. You don't call Madam. She is in a hospital, and you don't need to worry her, please.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, sir. Bye-bye.
So who actually called the doctor to ask of this?
Awesome.
Whoever did
I
this,
was just
you
about
haven't
to
helped
ask.
the class at.
Oh, why not do it?
Whoever did this, you didn't help the class at all.
You. Yo.
Of course. Why should you call?
The
The
person would have raised it here.
Oh, seriously, it's not good to do that. Seriously, it's not good to do that. It's like you are reporting him in a certain way. You see.
It's not like my report, sir.
Even me,
That
first.
It pain him. It pain him.
Oh yeah, you can see that. You see.
Like every second they are dimension of. Every second they are dimension of. It pain him. It's not good.
Okay, so some of us we are off. Whoever did that, shame on you. Bye.
A big shame. Shame.
I would like to. I would like to remind you all of tomorrow's meeting. Are you with me? I would like to remind. remind you of tomorrow's meeting. The assignment given, you should draw 2 females and 1 male in a conversation mode
Hey,
tomorrow morning.
accept
I
Amos.
haven't drawn.
Thank you for the reminder.
I haven't drawn mine yet.
We'll try and send it to the discussion group. Why?
Henry, I think it's off.